Well, it's a very strange world we live in. Some places are booming, some places are going bankrupt. And I'm afraid that's going to be the way it is for a while. Well, look out the window and you'll see what's different. There's a huge worldwide virus going on, which has caused many places to close down. That presents opportunities, but it also presents problems for many people. The main problem that I see is right now we have all the governments in the world, most of them, printing huge amounts of money, which has never happened before. It's going to lead to big problems down the road. Throughout history, when you print staggering amounts of money, it's led eventually to problems, and we have never in world history had so much money printing as we have now. Well, all this money printing, I have had more commodity investing, let's put it that way, because of the money printing throughout history. When you print a lot of money, it has led to inflation, and inflation means higher prices, which means commodities will go up. And as I look around the world, I mean, you can see that bonds are definitely a bubble. Bonds have never been this expensive in world history. Property in many countries is a bubble. You go to Korea or New Zealand, many places, it's a bubble. Stocks are beginning to form bubbles in many places. I mean, Apple goes up every day, 10 cents, things like that. The only things that are still down are commodities. I mean, silver is down 60% from its all-time high. Sugar's down 60%. Those are not bubble numbers when you talk about things that are down 60%. So commodities are the cheapest place, and I've invested more in agriculture and other commodities in the last year or so. Eventually, two things will happen. One, things will just get so overpriced, there won't be anybody left to buy, and then they start selling, and then there's nobody left to buy, and the prices go down a lot. But also interest rates will go higher. Eventually, interest rates have never been this low in world history. So when interest rates start going higher, a lot of people are going to have to sell. Some people are overextended. And when they start having to sell, it usually crescendos. And then you have a big bear market. I'm sure the next bear market we have will be the worst in my lifetime. We had a big bear market in 2008 because of too much debt. Well, since 2008, I mean, the debt has skyrocketed everywhere. We've never seen so much debt. So the next bear market has to be the worst in my lifetime because of all this debt. Well, as I said, when there's inflation, prices go up. And if you own the things that go up in price, whether it's sugar or silver or whatever, you usually will make money, or you certainly will protect yourself. So the best opportunities I see are in real assets. Also, though, whenever you have a big disaster, it usually leads to opportunities. For instance, right now, travel and tourism and entertainment are all demolished in many countries, and there are probably opportunities there developing I bought Chinese wine stocks recently because people stopped going out. They stopped going to restaurants, stopped going to bars. So maybe there's an opportunity there. Often when there is a disaster, it does lead to an opportunity. Well, I said bonds are the biggest bubble they've ever been. That's not an opportunity. Commodities are very cheap. Silver's down 60%. Didn't you hear what I said? This is an opportunity. Bonds are not an opportunity. Maybe I'm not making myself clear. Some markets are certainly great opportunities, some are not. Well, I am not selling anything yet, and I'm not selling short anything yet. I see bubbles starting to develop, but at the moment, it doesn't look like we're in enough of a bubble, maybe bonds, but nothing else for me to sell short yet. Many stocks in the US, which is the biggest market, are not up a lot. Some are in a clear bubble, but many stocks this year are down, or last year were down in 2021. So it's not a full-fledged bubble yet, but it looks like it's going to develop into a full-fledged bubble, at which point I'll have to sell and I'll start selling short. I hope I'm smart enough. I think what you need to do is to watch the desire to trade to figure out when it's time to sell the bubble. I don't know. Bubbles usually ruin two kinds of people. They ruin the skeptics first, the people who say this is a bubble and it's crazy. then they get ruined. And then the people who believe in the bubble get ruined, because then the bubble eventually collapses and they lose everything because they thought it was real. So I don't know. I'm not very good at market timing. I have been around bubbles before. I have sold bubbles. I have shorted bubbles. But bubbles can be very, very confusing. But when bubbles come, everything collapses, or nearly everything, not everything. Most things disappear. In the let's use 1999, that was a recent bubble in the US. It was the dot-com bubble. Many of the dot-com stocks, which were not real companies, some of them, totally collapsed and disappeared. Some survived and did well. I mean, Amazon is now a great, great, great success. But if you shorted at Amazon in that bubble, you would have made a lot of money for a while. But it is a company which went on to become a great success. Usually, there's always somebody that survives, but most bubble stocks disappear. I told you, watch the desire to trade. Always somebody who will survive. You look at their balance sheets, you look at their business, you look at the competition, you look at the people, or the people, smart people. No, it's the same thing that you would look at when you're trying to decide on any investment. It's exactly the same thing. It's more difficult in a bubble because usually there's a lot more competition in a bubble. Many new companies start up, and you have to decide which ones are really sound. But it's the same thing. Investing is pretty much the same always. I didn't say it was easy. I just said it's pretty much the same.